Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the latest in the CCM Official Supporters Club player chats. I'm delighted to say that this evening we have our English import for this season, Brooke Nunn, with us. Welcome, Brooke.
Thank you so much. Hi, guys.
Thanks very much for giving up your time for us this evening. We just would
My
like
pleasure.
the opportunity for our fans to get to know you a little bit better and have a chat about your career to date and your experiences. So I might just kick off by asking, who would you say influenced your view of football or your desire to become a footballer when you were growing up?
Um, I think it just started when I was young. I used to just go to the park with my cousin quite a lot and kick around with the boys and stuff on their estate. And it really just started from there. And I got scouted from just being in the park one time by some random guy. And it was funny enough, an Arsenal scout. So I went down to a trial and then my career just flourished from there.
So where the local park? I'm assuming it wasn't like a
Yeah,
football
just a
field.
local park to my house. I used to go there after school. I just used to love to be out running around, playing with the boys, and yeah, it just went from there.
Did the boys get upset that you were better than them?
Yeah, of course they did. You know what they're like.
I would say that's probably unusual. I mean, I know that scouts can be in all sorts of places at all sorts of times, but just to be spotted in a local park would seem a little bit sort of by chance, I suppose. But
Yeah, definitely. The way
oh,
it worked out was just so crazy. I just feel like everything just aligned, you know?
well, you must have stood out to that in that individual's eyes because, as I say, that wouldn't have been something they were necessarily expecting to pick up a footballing talent from a local parkland.
Hmm.
So can you speak to us about a little bit about your early football career? So which area did you grow up in, and who was your first club?
So I grew up in West London and my first club was Arsenal. So I just started obviously playing football in PE at school and stuff. And then when I did go to the trial and I got in, I went through the academy. So I went from the under 10s. I done that for 2 years, under 12s, under 14s, under 16s. And then from there, I went on to college to play in the reserves. And then I went through to reserves to the first team. So literally for a good 10, 12, 13 years, I just followed through the Arsenal system.
So was that like a scholarship kind of program, Brooke?
Yeah, sort of, yeah. So the under 12s, under 10s, etc., that was just like an academy system growing up, and then it went into like college reserves, and then it went into the first team.
So what age were you when you effectively became a professional, signed professional papers?
I would say about 16.
Okay, yeah, it's
Yeah.
cut off for young footballers in the European system, isn't it? They are
Yeah.
at that point you need to be offered terms, or sometimes you're released if you're not successful.
Yeah.
Indeed. So, how many countries have you played in to date in your career? I did have a quick look on Wikipedia, but you never know how reliable that is.
Yeah, don't say. Literally, I played in England, I was meant to play in Spain. I went there for a couple of weeks, but I didn't really enjoy the team and the environment. Then I played in Turkey for 3 months, which was a good experience. But again, nobody spoke English, so it was really challenging. So I saw that more as like character building and resilience, the way I had to kind of grind through them few months with no support around me and not being able to really like communicate with anyone. And then after that, I come back to England. I went to Scotland. I played in Hibernian for 18 months. And then after that, I come over here.
I believe
So
that was,
yeah, technically three countries.
you had a loan period while you were in Turkey. Is that right?
Not in Turkey, in Scotland.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I went to Motherwell for a few months near the end of the season.
So I don't think people perhaps always appreciate just how difficult the language barrier can be for players and for coaches, I guess, in the professional domain. When you go to a country where, that is, a barrier, unless there's teammates around you or coaching staff that speak your language, I imagine that's quite challenging.
Yeah, it was mentally very challenging because you couldn't really communicate or understand what was going on in training. You just had to kind of use your instincts and pick up what was going on around you. So yeah, I think that was a big turmoil in my career.
Well, as I say, I suppose that's the life of a footballer. They get periods where things go well and periods where things are not so easy. And
Yeah.
as much as everyone perhaps thinks it's a dream to be a professional sports person, it does come with an awful lot of strings attached to it.
I totally agree. There's so many highs, but then again, there's so many lows, and you just have to try and find the balance throughout it.
Yeah, I think I was talking to, funny enough, I was talking to Danny Schofield after the grand final that the men's won last year. And obviously, everybody was elated about the result. And I said to him, this is what you live for. And he said, let me tell you, football is 95% frustration, 5% exhilaration. I think that
Yeah.
probably
I
up.
totally agree. And it's more about the journey, you think it's like the destination, oh, we won this game and we done that. It's more about the journey and the small victories you succeed throughout training and pulling it off in games and stuff. So yeah, it's a really crazy journey.
Indeed. Oh, look, and I think, as I say, that I don't think people that haven't walked that journey can probably appreciate the highs and the lows of it. While you were at Arsenal, did the women's team train at London Colney? And if so, did they have any training interactions with the men's side?
Yeah, so we did train at London Colney, but I think so when I used to play back in my day, I say like I'm 100 years old, but when I used to play back then, um, women's football weren't as big as it was now, So it was kind of like the men and women didn't really integrate. It was like, okay, women in, women out, and then the men in. We was really hidden away from the spotlight because I think that's when women's football was really up and coming. So we didn't really cross paths like that. I felt like we weren't really respected as women footballers to
Well, I think
like where the game's really grown now. You can watch women's football on TV, you can name women superstars. Back when I was at Arsenal, that wasn't really a thing. So yeah, it's crazy how much growth has come in from back then till now, which is actually amazing to witness and be a
was
part of.
it's much the same in Australia, to be honest, Brooke. I mean, there's far more access to women's football now, and it's crazy how much the great game has grown in the last 10 or 15 years. And I mean, there's
Yeah,
a lot of women and young women playing the game now. Certainly even on the coast. I mean, just about every club has women's teams and girl. And obviously, I don't know if it's similar in the UK, but in Australia, certainly there are mixed sex teams up to a certain age. Um,
yeah.
Similar in the UK?
It was like that back in the day. I think it's a bit more like they push in women's football a lot more. So you do have women academies, girl foundation, girl setup. So yeah, I don't think it's as mixed anymore.
Is there any kind of tips or advice you might want to pass on to young girls, especially young girls that might be playing in boys' team against mainly other boys' teams?
Hmm. Yeah, well, me personally, I love playing against boys because I feel like even though they are technically fitter, faster, more agile, it really pushes you to your limit and it really helps you find yourself. So I would encourage to play with boys because it does help you get the most out of it.
I suppose it's the same as playing against women's teams, isn't it? The better class standard of player that you play against, the better you need to make yourself to be to compete with that.
100%.
So
And then,
sorry, on that topic, what's your impression of the Ninja A League so far? And has it how did that fit with your expectation before you arrived here?
yeah, I knew it was an up and coming league. There's been some right talents coming from Australia. You got the likes of Sam Kerr and stuff. So I was really intrigued to see what it was all about. And yeah, it has lived up to my standards. You got some great players throughout the league, and I love the way it's been pushed in the spotlight through Paramount and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a great league to be a part of.
So why did you on that same theme, why did you think that Australia and the Mariners was a good fit for you at this stage of your career?
So in all honesty, I did move to Australia to be with my partner. So that was meant to be in Melbourne, but unfortunately we didn't work out. So I spoke to Em and her values really aligned with my vision. Like the culture she has here, she's very family oriented, and that's something that I really wanted to be a part of. So I couldn't turn that down, and I ended up just staying over here and coming to the Mariners. And it's been the best decision I've made, probably in my career, I would say.
Well, that's a massive compliment to the club. I mean, I think we're all obviously invested in the team and the club and the region, but I know I've spoken to you personally after some games and how you're enjoying yourself here. I mean, it is a wonderful place, and the
Yeah.
fact that you're able to pursue your footballing dreams, in such a beautiful spot and a beautiful country. And I guess it also, the culture must feel very comfortable to you in terms of there's no language barrier, and there's very large similarities between the UK culture and the Australian culture.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, everybody's very friendly here. The energy is different. Like it's really helped me find myself. I'm more in touch with nature, and it's just such a beautiful place to live. So yeah, I'm just really happy to be here.
Could you see yourself staying beyond your playing career?
Yeah, I secretly can. Definitely. Yes. I think England's just very miserable. There's no sun, there's not a lot of, I don't know, opportunities. I really like it here.
Yeah, I think we are very blessed, and I think we should all be very grateful for that. With what's available to us in Australia. I'm a blow-in myself, and I know that there were reasons why I wanted to bring my family to have better opportunities here in Australia, and I do believe that they've benefited from that. But yeah,
Yeah.
the football scene here is a growing scene. It has its challenges. Obviously, it's a congested sporting marketplace here, and there are very established codes that dominate the scenery. But I think with the right vision and the right backing, football can be successful. There's certainly space for it to be successful.
Yeah.
The weekend showed that the fans, will turn out in numbers, and you certainly delivered in terms of a performance on Saturday. I think we were all kind of thinking that performance was in there. It's been a little bit. I guess it's been frustrating from your perspective as players that you
Yeah.
got the ability to play to that level and to dominate teams like that and score goals in the fashion that you did on the weekend. But it was really nice to see it finally come together.
Yeah, I think we are really starting to gel together. And a lot of it, like at training, you can see the quality of all the players. I think a lot of it does come down to confidence and being scared to make the wrong decision. But as you can see, we're all together and we want to push each other to be the best version of themselves. So when people do make mistakes, we encourage it, because you might make 10 mistakes, but at one time it does pull off and we score a goal. Do you know what I mean? You're going to be the hero. So yeah, we're very supportive and it's just a great culture to be in.
Yeah, from the stands, it seems like a very balanced team in terms of its strengths and weaknesses, and also it seems a very together, group.
Yeah.
Everybody, as you say, everybody gets around everybody, even if they make a mistake. There's nobody, giving anybody a hard time. It's always a case of chin up, let's go again. And so
Yeah.
that will always serve any team well. If you have a team of a squad that's united, that's always going to be, I think, more successful potentially than 11 very good individuals out on the football park.
I agree. And like you can see the difference. We are very together. Like you see teams, for example, I'm not going to say no names, but you can see they're at each other and um it's very egoistic. Like I'm better than this. I should be doing that. Do you know what I mean? I love that we're all humble. We all appreciate each other, and we all just want the best for each other. And I think that really shows on the pitch.
Yeah, and I think also you probably may have been a little surprised, I guess, that how accessible the players make themselves to the fans here. It's a very,
Yeah.
but particularly on the Central Coast, I think it's almost a given that post game the players will go around and sign autographs and chat to fans for as long as as long as needed, and I think that really helps to build those very, very deep and genuine connections.
Yeah, because we wouldn't be here without the support of the fans. And it's just a great feeling to have everyone behind us. It really pushes you and makes you want to drive to succeed.
Well, you girls are making it an absolute pleasure to come and watch you play. I mean, you give your all every single game. We don't always get the rub of the green, I know that, but certainly the performances have been strong, even
Yeah.
if the results have sometimes not maybe met your expectations. But even the games that have been played at Woy Woy have been a pleasure to go to. It's a lovely little boutique location. As much as Industry Group Stadium is a beautiful setting, the boutiqueness of the Woy Woy games has been enjoyable because 1,500 or 2,000 fans might seems like 10,000.
Yeah, it's very compact and it's very together, and you can feel the energy of the fans, which is really nice.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think the girls are giving that energy to the crowd to get behind them as well in the way they're playing and the way they're going about their business. So, it's a shame that that's an away game this weekend. But what are your
Yeah.
expectations of Canberra from what you've seen of them?
Oh, I feel like we sh- we won last time 2-1, didn't we?
Yeah.
I feel like we didn't really turn up that game though. So hopefully, if we carry on from the momentum from the last game and the chances we made and the goals we scored, that we'll really have a good game this weekend.
Yeah, I think that they're a competitive team from what I've seen of them this season. So it'll be an interesting game and hopefully an exciting one for the neutral. But with any luck, we come back with another 3 points in the bag.
Yeah, we got some good momentum behind us. So yeah, hopefully we can carry that on.
Well, you're certainly sharing the goals around on game day, aren't you?
And I'm very generous, eh?
I think it was 5 individual goal scorers on Saturday.
Yeah, crazy.
So that's great. It's great the goals are coming from all kinds of avenues. That's what you want.
It's amazing, yeah.
So that was your second goal, I believe, on Saturday.
I feel like I should have 3 goals because I don't believe my other goal was offside, but
Well,
we'll take the loss.
just think yourself lucky, Brooke, that you don't have VAR in the women's game here because it
Yeah,
is as much controversy sometimes as it solves.
yeah, I can imagine.
At least you can live in the moment. If it's ruled a goal, it's a goal. You're not going to get it overturned 2 or 3 minutes later. So
Yeah, it's very true.
there's some positives to take there, I think. Um, so just moving on to a bit more, find out a bit more about your experience with it. I mean, when I say with the exception of Emily, now let's include Emily in the debate. Who would you say is the best coach that you've played under to date?
So when I was at Arsenal, I played under Laura Harvey. I'm not sure if you know, I think she's at Seattle now in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was unreal. I feel like she really took me under her wing, when you're like the teacher's pet, sort of like the teacher's favorite. And she really believed in me. And I feel like they were the seasons when I made it up to first team and I had Champions League and stuff. And she really made me like I feel like become the player that I have.
Have you always played in that wide midfield role, or have you had different
No,
roles?
so majority of my career I have been in the 10.
Right.
Because I like to think I'm quite creative and I like to get on the ball. But because of my pace and stuff, when I was in the championship, they wanted to play me on the wing, just so I can get up and down. But I don't really love the wing because I feel like I'm kind of trapped there, like I can't get on the ball as much. So unfortunately, because Izzy's been out, I had to step up in midfield, and I have, yeah, really been enjoying it so far. So
Yeah,
yeah,
probably the toughest position on the park, I would say, winger in the modern game because it's high energy demands, and you don't see as much of the ball as maybe
yeah,
you like to. But you certainly made a fist of just about every position you've played in,
I
and
appreciate that.
footwork is a delight to watch sometimes. Your close control, and I think the good thing is that that's going to put fear in the minds of your opponents, and they're not going to want to dive in on you, because they don't want to be looking like mates look like a bit of an idiot, I suppose, as you dance.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe Peter Trimmis's goal, I think from memory on Saturday, where you danced around one of the Newcastle midfielders in and around the centre circle, and then fed the ball to Annalise, and she fed it to
Oh
Pete.
yeah. Yeah,
So
that
that,
was a beautiful play, I think. When I
yeah,
watched it back, the way we just slid it across, it was, yeah.
yeah, and the finish definitely did the build up justice. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. She did us proud, huh?
Yeah, look, there've been some great goals scored this season, and I'm sure that we'll see, quite a number more before the season's done and dusted. But the good news is you've managed to get yourself into that top six, which will be a new experience for you playing finals football. It's a very Australian kind of tradition, so to speak, and the top six the teams will go at each other at the end of the year, and the girls were only just fell short last year of getting to the grand final just by 1 goal. They missed out by
No.
one. Sydney over 2 legs. So I think with this team, the way it looks and the way it's playing and how balanced it is, I think there's every reason to think we might go a little bit further this time. And you never know, we could bring bring the big cake home with us.
Yeah, I think this is the year, huh?
I think that the league is very even from what I've seen of
I
it.
agree, yeah.
Anyone can beat anyone on their day, and I think that makes for exciting football. I know that City are travelling very, very strongly at the moment, and they seem to be the team to beat. But on any given day, we're certainly good enough, I think.
Yeah, I don't think any team that we've played are unbeatable, like you would fear playing them, you know? It's a very equal, competitive league, which I really like.
Yeah, I think that, and that makes it exciting for everybody. Everybody's stays invested in the games. It's always a. I think when you see certainly in the men's game, and I'm not so sure about the WSL, but there are teams that tend to dominate, and you expect them to be in the top one or two or three positions. But it's always nice when that certainty or that there's doubt in that equation, and that other teams shake things up a little bit.
I totally agree. Like I even think times when we played Melbourne City, we've had a couple opportunities that if we did take, it could have changed the whole game.
Yeah,
So
didn't lose to them, Brooke. So that was a real positive.
exactly.
Yeah, we'll give them a good run next time we play them. I'm sure.
I agree.
So, what was there anyone that you've played against during your career that you were a fan of before you played them?
Rachel Yankee.
Okay,
You know Rachel Yankee?
yes, I've heard of
Yeah,
her.
I used to really admire her because she come from the same area as well. So she inspired me to be like, you can kind of make it from wherever. Because I did kind of come from like a rough background. So watching her really succeed in football really inspired me. So I love managing to play with her.
They say you should never meet your heroes, but it sounds like you weren't disappointed.
No, not at all.
Who would you say has been the most difficult player you've played against? So I guess it would be a defender, maybe, or another midfielder.
Um, in this season or like in my whole career?
In your career. Oh, in both. We can do both.
Uh, I think this season Shay Evans, because she's a rowdy one. She likes to get at the hair and claw at you and everything. So yeah, me personally, I like to just get on the ball and twinkle toes around. So I do kind of sometimes hate the physical battle. Obviously, you've got to hold yourself up and not be pushed around. But yeah, I'm not really a fan of the physical battle. So I would say Shay on the team.
Yeah, no, Shay's a very physical player, but
Yeah.
that I actually quite like watching that when she goes about her business.
Yeah. She's
She's
very
fair,
passionate, which is good.
yeah, she's a fair player. She plays fair and she plays hard, but yeah, she certainly brings an energy when she comes onto the park.
I agree, yeah.
Do you, if you could have a dinner with any three footballers, past or present, who would they be and why?
Um, I would say girls that I've played with already, so the likes of maybe Jordan Nobbs, Alex Greenwood, Frank Kirby, because when we was younger, we was all like England together, like England 15s. And I would love to just sit down and have a deep conversation, like, pardon me, how has your journey gone? Because everybody's gone their separate ways, but we are all still in the footballing industry, and everybody's journey is different and unique to them. So I would love to know like what hardships they've had to overcome, or what challenges, or what things they would change, because we're all sort of at that age where we're like, we've lived out our career, we've probably got a couple years left. So I think it would be amazing to just like share our journey and experiences and see like what different paths and routes we went.
Sounds like you need to start a podcast up then, Brooke,
It does, huh?
or write a book maybe. This is probably going to be the dumbest question of the night, but do you have a favourite men's or women's side that you follow?
I don't. It's funny enough, I don't even really watch football, if I'm totally honest. I support Chelsea. So from when I was younger, I was West London, it's like Chelsea. So I've always been a Chelsea girl, which was very hypocritical because I played for Arsenal my whole life. So everyone's like, you traitor. But yeah, I would say I support Chelsea, but yeah, I'm not really like a die-hard football fan. In my spare time, I'd prefer to like be down the beach and have my toes in the sand and sitting there watching football.
Well, you're certainly living that dream at the moment. I imagine there's not a dud beach on the Central Coast, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, I agree. Do you want to see my view quickly? Look,
Please, yeah, share
sorry,
it.
I need to show it off. How do I turn this around?
Oh wow, look at that, beautiful.
Yeah, how can you complain?
Honestly, after 20 years, the view still hasn't grown old
It
for
never gets old. I don't think it
no,
could ever get old.
no, no. It's a blessed place, that's for sure. The Central Coast, and
Yeah,
may it stay that way.
yeah.
So, are there any specific drills or routines that you'd sort of would recommend that young girls consider to assist them in developing the right kind of playing style? I mean, I guess there's ball control is an important part of that, and obviously you grow into your body as you get older, that kind of thing. So, is there
Yeah.
anything you found as a developing player with drills that really helped you to bring your style together?
Yeah, I would say personally, So just utilize your strengths. So I'd say if you was more of a strong physical player, you'd kind of want to look to be more in the defensive role. To if you was a fast technical player, more of a like a winger or a midfielder. But for me personally, I feel like I was luckily quite technically gifted. My biggest issue in football was my mindset and believing in myself. So I felt like I really had to get that part right in my game to really excel. So it's different for everyone, you know, but I do feel like anything you do want to exceed in, you have to, it's repetition, you know. So if you want to be a good goal scorer, every day, repetition, repetition, keep working on the things that you want to do better in, you know.
Yeah, make it harder to miss than score. Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I think repetition is a big part of it, and I would imagine that even now that there are drills that you practice on in during training that are really just in intended to maintain that muscle memory and that brain memory.
Yeah, you just drill it into your head. You just keep going, keep going, keep going until you physically can probably do it with your eyes closed, you know.
Indeed.
And that's what it is. You really got to try and master your craft if you want to be the best version of yourself in it.
So you were saying just a little while ago there that the mental side of the game was a challenge for you personally. You had the talent, the physical talent, and the ability, but in terms of belief, that was something that came to you a bit later on in the piece. So was that as a result of coaches, making you feel secure and valued and those kind of things? Was that what helped you across that line?
Yeah, that definitely helped me. I feel like a lot of stuff a lot of factors start from childhood and the beliefs of yourself. And as footballers, sometimes we identify ourselves as just footballers. So if we're not playing or we're not doing good, that really dictates our self-worth. And I've learned as I've got older that I'm still a human as well as a footballer. So I need to be able to disconnect that. If I'm not playing or I'm not being chosen, it don't determine who I am as a person or my worth. And I think I was really caught in between that at one point. If I weren't playing, I didn't think I was good enough. And um, I had to really learn that football's a game of opinions, you know. Some people can love you, some people can hate you. And either way, that means nothing about who you are. And when you understand that and you remember that you're playing football because you love it and it expresses your creativity and it could even be your escape, then you'll start to fall back in love with it.
I think that I would imagine that the rise of social media has only made that journey much more difficult for individuals because there can be so much vitriol spread around so casually, almost in off the pitch. That
Yeah.
is it something that you take any stock in? Do you read any social media, or do you try to avoid it at all costs and just?
No, I don't really think I think social media is fake, you know. You can post whatever you want on social media. I'm more of a here and now person. So yeah, I kind of disconnect if I did get rude comments or anything. It just goes over my head, you know. You can think what you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably, from what I read and what I hear, it's probably less impactful here, although people can still be very cruel. Some of the European and overseas, even South American, environments can be downright hostile to players when they haven't performed to fans' expectations, and I think, how any human being deals with that is a challenge.
Yeah, it's very toxic.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll touch on some lighter stuff now, just so we've got the serious stuff out of the way. So, one of the questions that's been sent forward is, what is your favourite tattoo, and is there a story behind it?
It's so weird. I've got so many. I think so when I was young, dumb, and living off mum, I just thought, you don't really realize tattoos are on you for the rest of your life. So I used to just go in, yeah, I like this, I like that. And none of them really had any meaning behind them. I just like the image of having tattoos on me. So probably like 80% of them is down to that. But I think as I've got older, a few more the smaller ones are more personal, like Trust the Universe or like my Yin Yang, stuff like that, Breathe. I feel like they mean more to me because they're more personal. But yeah, my other tattoos are kind of just like artwork.
Is there any danger that the team might go out and collectively get tattoos if they win the grand final as the men's team have
I
done?
think there's a possibility, yeah.
Think yourself lucky your trophy doesn't look like the toilet seat then.
I know.
Have you ever had any unusual requests from fans that can be shared with us?
Not really. I think a lot of them just always ask for your boots, and you're just like, what am I going to play with, you know? But no, other than that, they're just happy to get your signature and get a little smile. So
I've
yeah.
seen a couple of oddball ones at the stadium only recently where we had one. There was one night where it was a young girl asking everybody to sign a Coke can for her. And
Yeah,
another
you
one,
sometimes get them to sign they ask you to sign their forehead and stuff
yeah,
like that. I'm like, you sure?
and there was a pair of Crocs I think a few weeks ago, which I thought was
Yeah, I think I signed that. I think I
yeah, I think.
signed them.
So thinking about the team, your current team, who would you say is the biggest joker in the team?
I would say it's competition between me and Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah, Taylor's a right character though. I do love her. She's really funny. But yeah, I think we're the loud banterish ones. We don't like to take life too serious, you know. If you probably see on Instagram, we're always dancing around in the gym and stuff. So yeah, we like to have fun with it as well. And
Yeah,
to show other people, even though it is a serious profession, like you can enjoy it, you know?
I think if you're not enjoying it, why are you
There's no
doing it?
point, yeah.
Football's one thing, your ability and what you're achieving on the pitch. But if you're not enjoying playing the game, then really you're in it for the wrong reasons. I mean, I think speaking of Taylor, I think she's had an exceptional season. I was very surprised that Sydney let her go, to be quite honest. And I think whatever position she's played in, she's delivered, as have many other girls. In the team this year, but she's certainly been for me, a very consistent player every week.
Yeah. Again, I think it's the environment as well, you know, when you're around good people that push you to be better and want the best from you, it helps you be comfortable and it helps you really flourish. And I feel like, again, that's the environment we have here. And you even see like little T, she's out here, 16-year-old scoring goals, you know, it's because we all believe in her and it's helped her believe in herself. And I feel like this is the environment you need to thrive. And yeah, I just feel like I'm just grateful for everyone around and you can just see the light in everyone's eyes.
Yeah, I think that's abundantly clear from the stands, to be honest, Brooke. You can see that every one of you are comfortable in each other's company, and that shows not just in your engagement with fans post game, but also on the pitch. It's clear that you're all there for each other 100%, and
Hmm.
I'm quietly optimistic that we will achieve great things this season
Hmm.
guys will achieve great things as a team, and certainly are representing the club with real pride at the moment. I think the men have had a tough season, up and down season, shall we say, this year, but the girls have been an absolute ray of light. So
Yeah.
long may that continue. Who would you say is the best or worst roommate in the team?
So far, my roommate's just been Shay, so she's my bestie. So yeah, we understand each other. Like when we get in, we don't want to talk. We just want to lay on our phones or sit and read a book, you know. So far, I've been quite lucky with Shay. So I wouldn't know who the worst would be. Um,
Did you know Jade before you came to Australia, Brooke?
no, I didn't. I knew of her obviously through the championship and that, but no, Australia was the first time I met her. But it was really nice. You know what I mean, we got a house together, two English people, so we don't feel so alone. So yeah, that was a nice
Yeah.
mixture.
Yeah, you've got to be comfortable on and off the pitch, and I think that helps you. The whole picture has to fall into place, and it sounds like it very much has for yourself. Uh,
Yeah, and we're like the same age group as well, you know, we're both in our 30s, so we're not really out just gallivanting in the streets. We're in that era where we just want to relax and chill, you know.
being one of the senior players, I don't know. I mean, I think your age, you belie your years, to be honest, Brooke, with your performances and your energy. Do you feel that there's a responsibility on you to lead the way for the younger players? Do you provide a lot of mentorship within the group?
Yeah, I feel like I have a lot of like life experience, so I do help people when they're going through struggles. They feel like they can relate to me, especially with the whole scenario of me moving over here with my partner and then us breaking up. So I do feel like I have a lot of wisdom around stuff. So yeah, sometimes I do forget that I do have that leadership and people do look up to me as I have traveled and I've been in this industry for quite some while. So yeah, I do have a lot of leadership in this team, which is great because I like getting the best out of people and inspiring people that you can make anything out of your life if you really do believe in yourself.
Yeah, as I say, you certainly lead by example on the pitch. So it's really good to hear that you're also providing some off-field and during training session support to the players that need the encouragement. Like you say, you've as you touched upon earlier, you found that so beneficial to you as a player, and knowing that people around you believed in you and supported you. That that can only be a good thing to have around the change room and on the pitch.
Hmm. Definitely.
So, what are your future plans after your playing career? Are you considering studying for any coaching badges, or do you see yourself in a life outside of football once your playing career ends?
I don't know. It's so weird when people ask that because you don't really ever think your career is going to come to an end, you know? But I'm more of a like go with the flow. I feel like while I'm here, I'm still finding myself. So hopefully it just falls into place after football. Something that really aligns with me will come into my path. Like I personally, I've always wanted to inspire people, like no matter what you've been through and your upbringing or whatever's happened, you can make something of yourself. So I want to kind of go into maybe maybe like a category around like mental health or just helping people strive to be the best version of themselves.
Well, I was going to make a suggestion. Given your love of the beach and sand on your toes, perhaps you should apply to be a surf lifesaver.
I could do it. I need to learn to surf though.
So, if you weren't playing football, what do you think you would have done to earn a living? And which teammates would you have liked to have had working with you, and why?
I don't know, you know. I've never really thought of that. I did stop playing football for a couple years and I ended up in like hospitality and stuff, but I couldn't imagine doing anything else, you know. Um, I think I just want to grab an RV and live by the beach if I weren't playing football.
Just become
That's probably what I'd end up doing.
a,
But
so
if I did have a career, I think I'd have someone like Bianca or Taylor because they are very hard workers. You know, they're grafters. They give 110%, and you know what you're going to get from them. So yeah, I definitely want them in my corner.
Yeah, I agree. They certainly give 100% on the pitch. That much is abundantly clear.
Yeah.
What's your favourite karaoke song, and what sort of music do you like?
I don't do the singing. I can't sing. I wouldn't want to embarrass myself. Music wise, I like all sort of music, so it really varies. I go from like R&B, Drake to like country music. So yeah, it's very like mood dependent, but yeah, I'm easy with all sort of music.
So you're saying you're not a singer. Does that mean that the girls don't have to do an initiation song when they join
Nah, luckily they don't. Luckily. Otherwise, I'd be on the plane back to England.
you? I was going to say, if that had been part of the deal, you wouldn't have signed.
Yeah, nah, no way.
Well, that's all the questions I have on my list, Colin. I can see that some have popped up in the chat while we've been talking. So perhaps I'll throw to you to add a few more.
Yeah, we've got some in. We'll go back to the you made a mention about the stadium at Woy Woy. So there is a question about what your preference is. Is it the stadium in Gosford or Woy Woy?
Gosford.
Gosford?
Yeah, it's just too beautiful. I don't think any stadium ever compares to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it an enjoyable experience walking out there for the first time?
Yeah, it was unreal. That was the Sydney game, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
It's just so mesmerizing. It's so hard to not be on the pitch just staring at the palm trees.
Then we've got favorite footballer, male or female.
I would say Mel probably Messi. You can't go wrong with Messi. He's a different caliber. He just skips around players like they're not there.
Okay. Um, and the other one is so last weekend we won the F3 trophy as part of the win over the Newcastle women. What did you think of the trophy when you first saw it?
It's different. It's, it's very different. But
It,
yeah, a trophy's a trophy, you know.
the rivalry between it's one of the original rivalries, as you've probably been told, Brooke, and
Yeah.
we thought it was a great initiative by the clubs when they decided to come up with something that would honour the F3 freeway between the two cities. So have you seen the men's trophy as well? I'm assuming you have.
Which one? No, I haven't. I don't think I've seen the men's
Uh,
one.
basically a core of concrete out of the
Oh yeah, like the round one.
Yeah, it's called the Ballon core. Is
that actually from the street?
It is actually.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So that's
You're lucky the council went after you guys.
The council weren't happy about it, but
I can imagine.
The club thought it was better to ask for forgiveness than permission. But that's the kind of humour that you'll find here. It's very, it's very down to earth. It's very, it's impactful. I mean, the rivalry between the two clubs has been strong for many, many years. And the good thing is, it kind of waned a little bit when the club was falling on hard times. But it certainly seems to be coming back, and there certainly seems to be some meaning to it these days. And I think both the games on Saturday were for the neutral were enjoyable games. Your result was obviously a much cleaner win, but the men's game was certainly exciting. If you weren't on one of the two benches, I guess.
Yeah. What was it? It was 2-0, and then they come back.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
Very sad. Yeah, but
frustrating.
The good thing is that the men didn't lose, and they retained the trophy as well with the draw. So
I agree. The trophy's staying at home, yeah?
It's staying at home.
Staying at home.
Sorry, Colin.
No, that's it for tonight. Thank you.
All right. Well, Brooke, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Anytime. It's been a pleasure.
We didn't run out of light as we feared we might. So we do appreciate you giving up your evening to speak with us, and hopefully the fans will now know you a bit better than before. And we look forward to watching you continue to deliver for the team between now and the end of the season, and hopefully in the big dance, come the end of the season.
Amazing. Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Pleasure to talk to you, Brooke. Have a great.
Thank you so much. You too. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Brooke.